And I want us to get this, that your biggest vulnerability, our biggest vulnerability, is isolation. It's isolation. That's the biggest vulnerability. If you ever think about the way that a lion goes after its prey, and the Bible talks about that's how Satan is. Satan roams around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. If you ever go to watch the Discovery Channel or a video on YouTube or anything where it's a lion hunting its prey, it stalks its prey. It doesn't just go right after it because it's in a herd. Typically, the animals that a lion goes after, they're herd animals, and they're protected by the herd. The strength is in the numbers, the strength is in the herd. So the lion waits, and it's patient, and waits till one of them kind of drifts away. One of them feels a little complacent because they don't see the lion. They don't see it anywhere around. They don't see any danger. They don't notice anything, so they drift away. Maybe they take a drink of water, and they drift away. And it's at that moment when it feels the safest in its isolation that the enemy pounces. And that's exactly what our enemies, the enemies of our soul, do to us. It's in the isolation. So I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but if you're in a level of isolation, you need to get with some friends. Man, and not just any friends. Here we see some top three. But not only that, we see that they are followers of the Lord. Man, don't just be with some good buddies. Be with some people that love Jesus. Be with some people that fear the Lord, because they're going to see you going astray, and because of their fear of the Lord, because of their love of the Lord, they're going to go after you. They're going to keep you close. I mean, you got to, I don't know who I'm talking about, you got to get with those kind of people that love you enough to correct you, to pull you back, to get you back into the fray. Because you might be drifting, and you might be in a season of isolation, but you feel that you're the safest you've ever been. And it's at that moment that the enemy attacks. And there's a story I remember watching years ago of the Los Angeles Lakers. And I believe it was the year 2001. And Kobe Bryant was an up-and-coming star. You know, Michael Jordan had just left and retired, or he was kind of on the downward slope as he sort of tried to come back with the Wizards. But Kobe Bryant was the up-and-coming star. He was just amazing. And he reminded everybody of Jordan. That's why people liked him. That's one of the things. And they studied Jordan. But he had a problem connecting. And there was this big issue that for years that he had with Shaquille O'Neal. And he had these issues. So he was kind of around people, but he was isolated. But then not only that, he had a level of team success. It looked like he had team success, but he actually got to the mountaintop isolated. Because even in his personal life, I mean, you can have the best professional life that you could possibly have. If your personal life is off, it always permeates. It always works its way in. And Kobe Bryant was dating then his fiance or girlfriend, wanting to marry this lady named Vanessa, who later became his wife. But Kobe Bryant, who's now passed on, died tragically. But in 2001, he'd won his first championship. And there's this famous photo of him with holding the championship trophy that he's worked his whole life to get, that he's dreamed of as a boy. He'd watch Michael Jordan win these championships. He says, I want to be like Mike. I want to be like him. And there's this famous photo of him sort of in the shower, totally clothed, but he's really in the shower so he can be isolated. And he's got the championship hat on, the trophy, and he is sad. And he's just sitting there, just sad and frowning and crying because his parents didn't approve of his new girlfriend. And so he had a strained relationship with his parents. And it was because of that strained relationship, he got isolated. Even though he was at a level of success, the highest level of success, the highest level of victory, but he drifted away and got isolated. And he was the most vulnerable he could have been in that moment, even though he just won the championship. You can always have the best experience doing what you've always wanted to do. But if you feel isolated and have strained relationships, it changes everything. And it's sort of that when you come to the mountaintop, there is a valley coming. We know that. We know that through Scripture. I've showed that before, that's just the way that it happens. That's the way our life works. Those are rhythms. That's just how it happens. But you have an enemy that is waiting. You have an enemy that's waiting.